So experience is really gold. And for today's session, I hope you can also understand especially for our new skincare products, experience is going to be something that I want all of you to feel and to be able to share this experience to your team. Okay, so this is the IKISE. You can see the two Chinese characters. And we started actually naming from the Chinese characters. And you see that the Chinese character on this side represents pure and sophistication. The Chinese character on the right side represents also pure and essential. In Japan, when we say essential oil in the Chinese character, this character, the exact character is used. So this actually represents the purest among essential oils. And translating this into sound, we named this IKISE. So starting from the name, the equity of doTERRA was actually incorporated into everything that you're seeing here. Now, today's presentation, I have two key phrases that I really want to re-emphasize, which will be our sincere desire to provide the best to the consumers, to all of you here. My passion to understand consumers and deliver something that's best has always been my motivation and driver. I was very lucky that in doTERRA, we had all the senior leaders that had that same mindset. Let's make something that's best for our members in doTERRA. John Gatmeyer, Nate, who's the president of Japan doTERRA, and Murray, all actually was in the room when I was presenting this. And they all said, let's really make something that's best for our members. That's the most important. Very lucky that this mindset is really all up to the top. So I really appreciate the environment that doTERRA has made for me to develop this product. Number two, fueled by the belief that excellence allows no compromise. The reason that I say this is when I was making this skincare product, and I do have more 25 experience in making skincare products in multinational companies. And I hope you have heard some of the products that I also made, which I will share you later when we meet face to face. But we wanted to match those best in the market competitors. We wanted to match and exceed them. In order to do that, we had to get into every single excellence. There was no room for compromise. So this was also one of our key messages. This is our motivation when we were making the products. So two things, very important. So please remember, for IKISE is really coming from our heart to meet your needs. And number two is no compromise when we really want to achieve that number one. Now, 5 principles that I'm going to share today when we were making our IKISE products. I will go through one by one, but oil and minerals, the skin benefit, environmental consideration, quality and safety, beauty and enjoyment. All 5 are very important for our new IKISE line. I'm going to start with the first one, oil and minerals. What does this mean? This means this IKISE product is the one and only product that only doTERRA can make. It is unparalleled. We are the first in the world to be able to make this high-level product because we are doTERRA. Now, what makes our product doTERRA, the only one in product? CPTG essential oils. We love this. I love this. Essential oils is such a critical portion of our product, and definitely we wanted to add the CPTG essential oils into our product. However, it's not, sorry, I used the wrong word. It's not adding CPTG essential oils. It's actually CPTG essential oils bringing the product to the whole new level. And the CPTG's essence, we wanted to maximize its potential also in the product. I will also talk about this a bit later, but CPTG essentials really played a critical role when we were making this product. Minerals, humic shell. In Japan, we have a product called Fossil. that utilizes this humic shell as part of the key ingredients, which is everyone in Japan loves this product. So we also wanted to combine this very doTERRA unique, distinctive product into IKISE as well. This was so unique and distinctive, we could not have any access to any cosmetic or skincare ingredients. So we actually had to register, find the ingredient and register the ingredient by ourselves. This is so unique. This is also one of the reasons that makes IKISE so special. Skin benefits. I can be talking about this for hours and hours, but because the time is ticking, I'm going to today focus on the humic shell minerals that I just mentioned right now. We infuse the natural minerals as essential trace nutrients to really support the skin core functions of helping maintain a healthy, resilient complexion from within. What does this mean is, if I look into the publications or evidence, there are many documentation that says mineral is essential for your skin. It does a lot for your skin. But what is most important is mineral is such a base foundation. I think Alex just shared the wellness pyramid. It is at the bottom of the wellness pyramid that really holds to, supports everything. If you're making a house and your foundation is weak, the house is not going to be robust. If you push it, maybe it'll fall. So really making a robust foundation is very important. So no matter how much good ingredients, good technology that you add, if your foundation is weak, the goodies that you add is not going to be able to maximize their potential. So we actually wanted to add these minerals to really maintain this foundation. And interestingly, this idea is also coming from one of our favorite products, VMZ. VMZ also has minerals that really support that base foundation of wellness. And also the minerals that we also used here is a unique mineral. It's not just a normal mineral, but it's a mineral that forms a complex with amino acid and other organic acid. There is strong evidence to say that this form of mineral is easier to be absorbed by the system. So we just didn't want to add minerals here. We wanted to add minerals that the skin can make the best out of it. So up to that level, we really designed the product and wanted to maximize the humic shell minerals that we wanted to place into our products. Now, let me go into the environmental consideration. We are doTERRA. We always have trust on the earth. We look at the earth. And we actually did everything to really support this from a sustainability perspective. These are a few technologies that we incorporated into our products. The first three is related to packaging. So we used plant-derived plastics. We wanted to reduce the usage of petroleum-based plastics. So this was also one thing that we really wanted to highlight on. Forest Stewardship Council certification. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but on all of our cartons, it has the FSC certification. What does FSC certification mean? It means that this council protects the forest, conserves the wildlife, and it also respects the workers that work in the forest. This is very close to our co-impact sourcing mindset. So this, utilizing the Forest Stewardship Council certified carton to our product was also a very important part of our sustainability commitment. Green nanotechnology. This is somewhat unique technology that exists in Japan, but why did we want to get into this level was that reality is all cosmetic plastic packages are not recycled. A lot of the products, maybe you put them into the wrong bin, or maybe the place that you live does not have a recycling facility. A lot of the products are still incinerated. And that is reality. But what this green nanotechnology does is, even under the circumstance that the product is incinerated, we cut down the release of carbon dioxide that's going to be released over 50%. So up to this level, we really wanted to be considerate of what will happen to the product. If it is incinerated, we still want to be gentle to the earth. So up to this level, so this is no compromise to all of what we are doing. This is, I think, one good example of adding this technology to be able to preserve our environment. The last portion, the ISO 16128 compliant natural origin index, and I'm sure that, what am I talking about? It's probably your first impression. But this is actually a very important element for us when it comes to our ingredient selection. And how this works is based on, this is an international standard to calculate how much natural origin ingredients that is being used in our products. And I'm going to set our criteria first, but we set our criteria as that all of our products will exceed 90% of the natural origin index. And when this criteria, when I first shared to the US R&D team and other people in our team, a lot of the experts mentioned that this is a really high hurdle that you're aiming, because achieving 90% over for this natural origin index is very, very challenging. Now, I'm going to also explain what this natural origin index really means now. So, what is naturally derived? What is natural origin index? They look very similar, but there is a big difference. I'm going to give you a short quiz here. Imagine I have a tomato in my hand right now. Is the tomato natural origin? Any? Yes, tomato is natural origin. Now, if I'm going to put that tomato and soak it into gasoline for 1 month, and I take that out now and it's in my hand, imagine a tomato soaked with gasoline. Is this natural origin? Yes, I'm hearing yeses and a few no's as well. Is this naturally derived? The answer could be yes and no, because there is no common standard. One company can still say, no, this is 100% naturally derived, because it is tomato, it is naturally derived. But other companies, no, because it has gasoline, it's not 100%, it's going to be less. So without that common standard, every single company can actually claim their own numbers. But the natural origin index really set the right international standard when we talk about natural origin. So if I talk about the gasoline-soaked tomato under the natural origin index, it would mean it would not hit 100%. Because through the process, something that was not natural was used or utilized. So you will see a lot of products in the market that says 100% naturally derived or natural origin. That number is really based on the company's internal standard. They can really say whatever number they want because there is no common standard. But the natural origin index allows you to make a fair assessment of what level is natural standard or not. So that is also why this 90% was a very difficult number to hit. Now, quality and safety, very important. We take quality and safety for granted. And when I used any products in the market, I also take that for granted. But actually, that behind the scenes, there's so much work that happens. And achieving 100% is a very difficult mission. And because sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes, depending on your skin condition, you may get somewhat like a tingling sensation as well. However, if we do not aim for 100% from the beginning, we are not going to be able to hit close to 100%. A lot of companies says, oh, up to 10%, we're fine. As long as the 90% of the people are fine to use, let's move ahead. So what happens to that rest of the 10%? We really wanted to make sure that we aim for 100%. If we want to achieve 99.9%, unless we aim for 100%, we're not going to be able to hit 99.9%. So this is also an area that we spend a lot of times, no compromise. Now, safe and reliable to use. What we did here was all products were allergy tested. And this allergy test is a 3 months long testing until you get the result. From the time we kicked off the IKISE development to launch was around 13, 14 months. Imagine we took 3 months of that 13, 14 months to focus on safety assessment. This is how serious we looked at when we think about the safety of our products. And I still remember, this was a very expensive test as well. I brought the bill to Nate, who was the Japan president. He goes, "You're spending a lot of money." And I says, "But we're not going to compromise on safety. We really have to do this." And I was also very fortunate to have leaders that would really understand this as well. Because not everybody understands, because if they're getting a high bill, they're going to say, no, you're spending too much. But this is also doTERRA's mindset to say, let's make sure that we spend the right money, spend the right time so that we can really give that safe and reliable to use the peace of mind. And one more, doTERRA's ingredient standard. This is also a very high hurdle because we really want to be gentle to the earth and strictly follow the doTERRA ingredient guidelines. So this was also a very challenging target that we have set, but we were able to overcome. At the same time, I also set a different target, which actually my team back then was saying, "Oh, you set a bar too high." The target that I have set is I'm only going to use ingredients that are proven to be safe. There's data and evidence to be safe, and it has a history of use. No matter how much, maybe in Japan, from an island that we've never heard before, they got a new herb, and they claim, "Oh, this is so safe." But if I don't know the history of use and seeing the data, no matter how much people say it's safe, or people say this is the trendy ingredient, I'm not going to use that because safety is very important. So really focusing on the evidence and history of use when even selecting the ingredients was also the bar that we have set. So meeting both the doTERRA's ingredient standard is already a very high standard, and yet also focusing on the right level of scrutiny on the ingredients, we really set a very high bar to really meet the safety standards here. Commitment to quality. Now, what does quality mean? We ran numerous testing on quality. We may think about putting the product into the oven and see if the color or the aroma changes. If the product will still remain its shape. If you open a jar and the jar totally becomes liquid, that's not the right level of quality we're looking for. I think a lot of people will think, oh, quality that's like the core part of the quality. But actually, there's a lot more when it comes to quality. Under normal usage, what would the product be like? The pumping. How much pumping do you really need before the product comes out? Because if you need to pump for 100 times before the product comes out, that's stressful. I'm going to throw the product if that happens to me. So up to that detail, because we really wanted to make you feel that quality is taken for it's granted, but we really wanted to make sure. And we ran all of the studies in the lab and with our partners, but at the same time, we also did our quality check in our office. So hiddenly at the high part of the shelf, because we couldn't really showcase the products, we actually hid the products at the high part of the shelf, and we were checking. Under this normal kind of working environment, would the product still be okay? And interestingly, through those small testing that we did in our office, we were able to pick up the small quality potential challenges as well. So we quickly brought everything back together and worked with our partners to make sure that even up to that detail, we can have that high confidence on quality. So this is also something that maybe some people will say, oh, you spend too much time on this, or even too much money on this. But this was the area that we could not really compromise as well, because quality and safety is very, very important. The last portion, this is my favorite portion, beauty and enjoyment. And we're launching a skincare product. Becoming its beauty is a very important element. But people may ask, why does it have to be enjoyable? And I do like to daydream about what's going to happen in the future. And if I kind of think 50 years from now, maybe there's going to be a super tablet that contains all the energy and nutrients. And you don't even need to eat anymore. You just take the tablet and it's a perfect nutrient combination for you. I'm sure Alex will be able to make that one. Perfect combination for you. And you get all the right energy, nutrients, and you're going to be healthy. However, at the same time, we had the gala dinner yesterday. The steak was, served in front of me. The visual of the steak, the smell of the steak, how you cut into the steak, the flavor that you're getting. That's experience. That experience is also something that brings the product to the next level. The experience is the goal that I just mentioned. So it's a balance of what we want to achieve. But for us, for this one, for IKISE products, we really focused on that experience portion as well.